Hi everyone, Toni here from Scrap Crazy with Toni, bringing you a project today to do with the Lasting Memories layout. And we are doing a challenge this week. January 10th, the challenge opens up and it is called Places. So we want to see you create a layout of your favorite place that you've visited. Perhaps it's a landmark, a city, the beach, or a favorite restaurant. Today, however, I'm going to bring you a little spin on that challenge, and I'm actually going to use a photo of myself at home, because I have to be honest, it is actually one of my favorite places in the world. It's just my house, my space, that little bit of me. And I'm actually doing a virtual crop online in the photo. So that is one of my favorite places to be, is my craft room. And let's face it, during 2020, we really didn't have many places where we're allowed to go. So this was definitely my new favorite thing to do in 2020. And it is, of course, my favorite spot to be in my house is my craft room. So I pulled out some Daydream from the Cocoa Vanilla. And I've already had a play with one layout using this stuff, but I just pulled out the collection and thought it would be fun to have another little play. I've got something of an idea of what I'm going to do, but not a whole lot of an idea. So I've sort of know what I'm going to do, how to set out the base of the layout. But as for once putting on the photo and laying out clusters and stuff like that, I've got no idea what I'm going to do. So hang in there with me. Let's wing it, and thank you very much again for being here. So again, I'm here for the Lasting Memories layout challenges. This is the January 10th challenge. It is number 530. 530. So I'm going to start by taking the labels off my layouts. Remembering that some papers you actually need to do a proper check on the measurements, because some layouts actually give you a little bit extra than the 12 by 12. So just keep an eye on that. And if you need to measure to make sure that it's 12 by 12, definitely do that. So what I'm actually thinking, this is what I've got planned so far. After that, it's just winging it. So I'm thinking I'm going to cut this into strips. And that's going to go on, lay down flat on that other dotted piece. And then I'm going to foam tape up some white and then cut this to fit on top of there like a matting. And it's just going to be lines down on the page. With the dimension, it should work out good, hopefully. I've also got some, is it Osha? It's a bit like a yellowy ink. It's quite a fun ink, so hopefully we'll be able to use that as well. And definitely the distresser. I do apologize ahead of time if there is anyone that isn't a fan of the sound of the distressing. I'm just looking, there it is. I was just going to say maybe not because I can't find it, but it's okay. I found it. Okay. Right, so let's start with our base piece. So our base piece is going to be there, and then this is going to be our next layer, or our first layer. And then let's make it 10 inches all up. So I'm going to cut off the first couple of inches there. That way they're all, oh, that was loud. That way they're all the same. Yeah, that's cool. Yep. Okay, I do like that. All right. So we're going to go with some different lengths. So that's 1 1/4, 1 3/4, 2 inches. Now remember that because this is the bottom layer, anything that's then going to come on top needs to be smaller. So we do need to remember that as we cut it. So I might go another 1 1/4. No, that was 1 3/4, sorry. And then this one will be 1 1/2. And I might do one more 1 1/4 and just see how we are there. Now I've still got 2.5 inches there to play with, but we'll just see for spacing wise. Now of course they aren't going to be perfectly aligned. I do want them to be a bit mismatched. What do we think of that? Or do we need to have it closer, do you think? Maybe a bit closer. So I will need to get at least one more strip out of that. And I'm going to say that strip's going to need to be 1 1/4. Okay, so that strip's then going to go there, something like that. And as we know, I just eyeball. For anyone who has been keeping an eye on my videos, thank you very much, and thanks for coming back. Anyone who's new, you will learn very quickly that I eyeball a lot. And I'm okay with that. I apologize if you're not okay with it, but I'm actually okay with it. So let's quickly write down what we needed. So again, this is Lasting Memories Challenge 530, and my strips were 1 3/4, 1 1/4, 2. I'm just going to, that frog is annoying. I'm just going to close that window up. Very loud frog. 1 1/2. Okay, so we actually ended up with 2 that are 3 1/4, 3 that are 1 1/4, 1 that is 2, and 1 that is 1 1/2. So I'm going to keep that in front of me now while I cut to know what it is that I actually need to cut the next ones. So I'm not going to go down by a full quarter. I like to work, I know a lot of people don't like to work in 1/8 and 1/16. I actually don't mind working in them. I'm going to work a little bit more, so I'm not going to have this like super close. I don't want it super close like that. I'm probably going to want it a little bit more, so that will be fairly close to the quarter that I'm going to have to bring it in, but not quite. So let's start with our biggest size, which is the 2 inches, and just bring it in, bring it down to whatever size you're comfortable matting. Oh, I forgot, actually, what do we need to do first? We need to cut down our full size. Now, it was 10, wasn't it? So we're going to cut down to about 9 3/4. There we go. And let's quickly cut that one while I'm remembering. Okay, so that is our 2 inch. Now we need, so our next size was 1 3/4 by 2. And again, we're just coming down that little bit, not a full quarter, but close to it. They were the 2 1 3/4. Now we need to do 1 1/2. So again, we're coming under that for the matting, but not a full quarter. And then 1 1/4. So they will be 3 of those. And we're not dropping that full 1/4 inch. We're going just short of the full 1/4 inch. So I'm actually going to end up with 3 1/4 of that white spare. The next is, so I would like to run this paper this way. So I need to chop off the bottom here. And so we did that at 9 3/4. So I'm going to do just under that 9 3/4 because I do want the matting to be very small and close on the white and the pattern. Okay, I'm just going to take off just a smidgen of that white border so we can start straight off. So we need to get this correct now because we're going to be sticking them in order. I think I may have done a dodgy cut there. I did. I actually have. I've done the wrong cut on the 1 1/4 inch strips. I'm going to have to recut that. But that's okay because I did have plenty left. That's probably why I had too much left. I was wondering why I had so much left. That will be why. So we're going, so it's 1 1/4. So we actually need just that smidgen over the 1 and not under the 1. Right. Okay, silly me. I'm going to lead you all astray. I do apologise. Much better. Okay. Now we started off with 1 3/4, so let's do that. Now, of course, we're coming in for our matting. And because I said that I wanted it to be not quite the full half, 1/4 inch under, I'm going to be very easy to actually cut around that full. So if it's 1 3/4, if you cut roughly 1 1/2 now, roughly, you should get a very nice slim, very small margin for the mat. Excellent. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay, the next was the 1 1/4. So again, we came down not quite a full quarter. So if we cut around the 1 inch mark, we should get fairly close to what we want. The next is 2 inches. And just keep following that principle of cutting approximately about that 1/4 inch under to give a small matte border on the white. 1 1/2, I think that is. Again, when you're using things with measurements that are so precise, that are in order, you're welcome to just keep checking, as I have to as well. Just keep checking to make sure you've got the right measurements. 1 3/4 there, and then the last 2 pieces are the 1 1/4, which of course are just about that 1 inch mark. Okay, so then I've got some leftovers there. Okay, so before I stick all this together, I do want to distress everything, and I'm going to ink it as well. So I'm going to get onto that. I do apologise that this is a very boring process to sit there and watch while I distress and ink. I hope everyone is enjoying their 2021 so far. I hope that this year brings a lot of joy that the last year unfortunately restricted us from having. So this month at the Lasting Memories Layouts Challenge blog, we are doing sort of like a Wheel of Fortune category. So last week, if you were playing along, I'm actually not sure what last week's was. Sorry. I've only printed out the challenges for mine. Sorry, I apologise for that. Go have a look at the blog. Definitely go have a look at the blog to see what last week's challenge was. Feel free to come back and remind me what it was. So I like to double tape my papers, or double adhere, I should say. So I use double-sided tape and glue. I live in central Queensland, which means that it is sometimes difficult to get things to stick correctly. Now I'm just going to take a moment and actually just tidy my desk. You'll hear me say that a lot. Tidy your desk, because I'm going to start layering this off to the side so I know which one goes on where, because I'm leaving these ones. These ones are going to have to stay on the actual layout. You may think that it's probably odd that I chose this Osha yellow ink out of all the colours that this paper has, but to be honest, I just chose it because it looked fun. I love picking minimal, you know, a minimal colour from a colour, you know, a pattern paper, and just grabbing it and winging it and going with it. Of course, I probably should have picked something like this, or even, you know, an aqua or a teal or a soft green, but I really didn't want to. I wanted to go with something fun and bright to start the year off. This is my first design team layout that I'm bringing you guys this year with the Lasting Memories Challenge blog. So I really wanted it to be a fun layout. Oh, goodness me. And I really do have to say a really big, massive thank you and shout out to the Lasting Memories Layout Challenge blog team. That I used to be a DT quite a few years ago, and everything just got a bit too much. My crafting just got a bit too much for me, and I had to step down. And I actually took a few years off crafting in general, scrapbooking, card making, everything. I took about 2 years off where I just did absolutely nothing. And then when I decided it was time to come back and try and relight that flame, that love of scrapbooking and card making and paper crafting in general, I did so with joining quite a few swap groups. So that was mostly for my card making. It's great to learn and to keep up with a whole lot of different techniques and folds and creative projects that way, and I really enjoyed doing that. And that is how I first ignited that flame back up again. And when I you know, got the confidence back up and sort of, you know, felt like it was the right time for me again, I got in contact with Laurie from Lasting Memories Layout Challenges and said, hey, I know you're doing a DT call soon. I would love to be considered, please. And I absolutely got welcomed with open arms. It was just like rejoining my family again. It was one of the most beautiful things, and I was really quite emotional when I got the email back to say, of course, we would love to have you. So thank you very much, Laurie, for sticking it, giving me another shot, even though I hadn't been scrapbooking I had taken such a large break. I thank you for having the courage and supporting me and coming back. And again, I've been here for the full year and back again this year. Still loving every moment of it. I'm on Team B, so I only need to do challenges every couple of weeks, which is what all of our team does. We rotate on alternative weeks or fortnights. I'm on Team B, and I do try and leave as many comments as I can on everyone that enters our challenges, so thank you so much. Just to show support back. So on my Facebook site, Scrap Crazy with Toni, you'll be able to find plenty of DT inspiration for lasting memories. And also I'm on an Australian DT challenge blog as well called White with One. So I've just accepted another 6 months with them. I'm not sure if I'll go the full year this year, just depending on commitments, on how much time I've got to be able to really give everyone, because it's all about the scrapping community, and if someone else is able to do a better job than I can, I am always happy for someone else to do that. I've always said that I don't really have a style in scrapbooking and card making. I do everything. It's probably because I have been on a few different design teams, and I just sort of make whatever I'm told. So I'm given a challenge layout, theme, technique, idea, anything like that, and I just go with it and do whatever suits, whatever suits what I'm thinking or feeling at the time. Lately though, with my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, I have been trying to upload some fairly simple pages to my lazy scrapping series. I've had some great feedback from that, so thank you very much to everyone for jumping on board with that. This layout will actually probably be included and tagged in my lazy scrapping series. So how I classify my lazy scrapping is the simplicity of it. So it does not include the use of extra dies, extra machines. I don't have to get up from my desk to grab stamps or anything like that. It's just what I have right here next to me. Now, I do have quite a lot right here next to me, which makes most of my layouts actually, quite easily accessible. I have a bit of a U shape here that most of my products are right here within arm's reach. But I generally try not to get up from my seat if I don't have to, which includes grabbing the big shot down. Even though I can reach it, I do have to stand up to reach it. It's just up there. But then for me to grab my dies, that is the one that I do actually have to get up and walk a few paces over there. So therefore that is my lazy scrapping. I am too lazy to get up, find a die, and then cut it out. I find lazy scrapping to be a fun series for beginners, as well as the more advanced type that you can then take the basic idea of my lazy scrapping page or layout and run with it. If you're more advanced and you have more tools and you understand techniques and you have more mixed media and all that sort of stuff, absolutely grab the idea and run with it. Add whatever you want to add to it. Add different papers, add different collections, add stickers, add die cuts, add a dozen different flowers. It's entirely up to you. Of course, I would love to see anything that you create that is inspired by any of my lazy scrapping series or any of my projects that I do. I would love to see it. You'll also notice that while watching this video, I do try to keep it as quickly as possible, as short as possible, because I'm a fairly quick scrapper as well. So I do like to try and have a page done within the hour, and I will try very close, or I'll try very hard to have it as close as possible to that. So I'm probably not making as good use here as I could be. You know, I'm sure that you could go, Toni, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? That would have been easier. I'm probably double handling. I'm trying not to, but I probably am. And I actually don't, right now I don't mind that, because I didn't have as much a plan on how I was going to actually sort all this stuff out when I started. Like I said, I just had the idea for the base page in my head, and all the rest I'm just sort of winging it. So the distressing, done. Now the distressing part is actually part of that winging part. I'm just figuring it out as I go. Now I haven't inked this bit, and I noticed that I haven't inked a couple of these bits here as well, so I'm going to have to do that. And when I dropped that, I just put a big streak of ink right there. Look at that. Oh, well, lucky it's fairly similar color. So I got sidetracked before. On my YouTube and my Facebook, Scrap Crazy with Toni. My YouTube, I think, is just called Toni Herron, T-O-N-I, Herron, H-E-R-R-O-N. But the links are on my Facebook page for that. And my son Hunter and I get on and do some kids crafting inspiration layouts as well, or cards or something like that, just for a bit of fun. Again, we try to keep those sessions fairly short as well. He has been known to jump on and do his own videos without me as well. So please, if you do see any of those, Hunter going solo, please leave him a lovely comment and support and encouragement. He thrives off that sort of stuff, especially with his crafting. He is only 10 and he is super creative. He's very sporty, very active, and is very creative in all sorts of different ways. Okay, so I'm now going to start sticking these down. I'm just going to double side tape these and a bit of glue, because I want them to be flat. Now I just want to double check that I'm okay with the random gaps in between. Now it is going to be random gaps. I'm not measuring anything. You know, if you want things to be perfect, then please do make them perfect when you are creating your own layout. Take the time that you want to take to make it the best layout that you possibly can. Now, because I don't or haven't stuck double-sided tape right up to the edge, I do add the glue to right up to the top and the bottom, just to make sure that it's a nice, safe and secure stick there. And for those that are returning, you already know my little story about my pick, one of my favorite tools in my craft room. For anyone that is new, again, welcome and thank you very much for joining me today. I use my pick for my double-sided tape because my nails are quite long and thick. So they are, I'm going to try and straighten this up, so at least I, you know, if it's, well, it's going to be wonky anyway, let's be honest. Now they are my nails, except for that one, obviously. No, that is my nail, but it got ripped off about a month or so ago. It actually ripped off, but they are my nails. It's just that I am a nail biter, and so I get the shellac powder put on top. My nail lady is amazing, and she definitely has my back and makes sure that they are nice and thick when they're finished. It just means that I have to use the pick to take the double-sided tape off the paper once I've got it on there, because they simply, honestly, it just doesn't pick it up. That's all it comes down to. It's just simply too thick to pick it up. Now, I know the other ladies that have nails, they have some really fine tweezers that do the same thing. It's all about personal preference. There is no right or wrong, but it is definitely one of my favorite tools in my craft room. When I get asked, you know, whether it's on Facebook groups or, you know, just at a retreat or a crop, and everyone says, what's your must-have, you know, what's your top 3 must-have for your craft room? And my very first and honest answer is a glass mat. I do love my glass mat. I've got, I think this is like an easy cut one or something like, yep, it's a Do Craft X Cut, Do Crafts. Now, it's 42 centimeters by 32 centimeters, so it fits a layout on there nice and nicely with extra room. I know that Tim Holtz have a few out at the moment. He has quite a nice glass mat as well, as do a few other companies. And it's all about preference, personal preference, what you like and what works best for you. I chose this one because it's just a little bit bigger than the rest. I love to do mixed media and that straight onto it because it just wipes off. With a tissue or a wipe, it just goes straight off. Now I'm going to finish this one and the next one, and then I'm going to take just a moment to quickly clean up my craft desk. For anyone that has crafted with me before in my videos, you'll know that this is quite an important part of my creating, is that I do like to keep a nice clean and clean and tidy craft desk. I apologize. It helps me stay organized and structured and on task to what I'm doing. And everything on my craft desk that I'm actually using has a specific spot. So you'll see that I always put my pick down in the same spot. I always put the glue and the ink down in the same spot. And that, you know, when I've got scraps of paper, it always tends to go over to the right side before it goes into the bin, because my actual scrap box for leftover scraps is on my right side, so that's where that ends up going. Any kits that I'm continuing to play with, you know, they're right here, same as my tape and stuff like that. And anything that's still going on like this, I've just sat there. Okay, now we need some foam tape. Now I usually don't like doing this part too much because foam tape is actually quite expensive here in Australia and is very hard to get here in central Queensland, although we have just had a local, like a scrapbooking shop just open up locally, which is very exciting. First time in a long time. Doing this with it, like this tape actually cost me about $7 a roll, and so doing this to it takes up so much of that roll, it just breaks my heart. However, I did just buy a whole bunch of it on sale not long ago, so I'm not panicking quite as much as I usually would. Now, I know that a fair few of you will be tuning in from the USA, and thank you very much, and hello. So the photo that I'm going to be using today is actually from a Zoom retreat or a crop that is mostly based over there in America. The ladies are just amazing. There are, oh, ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget, there is a gentleman on there as well. So there's people there from every sort of culture and age that you can imagine. I'm going to be a little bit different sticking that down. I've not done that before, but I thought let's give that a go. That way it covers the whole piece, doesn't it, without bowing and having to double up. It's a little bit different. Okay. Now, which side does that go? This way. So the reason why I chose to go long ways with this pattern and not that way with this pattern paper is the fact that it is being mismatched with the thing. So can you imagine having paper like this and then mismatching it with that, you know, and it just doesn't look right. So that's why I've decided to go the long ways. If you're looking and going, I wonder why she did that, that is why. I love the dimension element that double-sided tape can give us. Even though I tend to get some heart palpitations with the cost of it and the use of it, there are other ways around it. So you can use just normal adhesive foam sheets. So I think they come in like A4 size or something like that. And you can get one side that's adhesive and one that's not. So stick it on and then just add the glue or your double-sided tape to the side that's not. You can also get chipboard and use that. Chipboard's great when it comes to things like cards, as it actually adds some extra weight. Now, have I done these? I think that's supposed to go there. So what have I done? I've cut them wrong. Oh, okay, I know what I've done. Simple, but this goes this way. There we go. Oh, I do have to lift that back up because, again, eyeballing, and I eyeballed wrong, didn't I? And it's actually okay to eyeball wrong. Don't stress out, don't freak out, nothing's perfect. We're crafting, we're creative. And everyone has different ideas of straight. I am a mum of boys, so I'm very structured and organized and perfect in my day-to-day life. So I love to take an opportunity to not have to be perfect and structured and organized when it comes to my crafting and creating. So of course I don't need the pick to pick these up, as it's, you know, it's foam tape, so it's quite a bit thicker that I can just whip that up with my fingernails, and that's not a worry at all. Okay, so this is actually as far as I've gotten with my idea of what I'm going to do. That's it, that's as far as I've gotten. I think we're sitting roughly about 40 minutes now. So I've only got about 20 minutes to sort of try and get this embellished. and show you what to put on there. So again, just taking a moment to clean up my desk. I had a lot of little paper furries from the distressing. Okay, so I'm just thinking about matting, and I've got, okay, so I've got plenty of stickers on here. Now it needs to be a favorite place, so again I've turned this into my desk being my favorite place. So I sort of do need to try and have, I saw in here, I need to have probably that word favorite at least in there somewhere. If you can see that favorite in there. And I might use some of these cute little words. Matting. Okay, let's start with what I need to do first, and I need to mat that. Now I'm going to use, what am I going to use? I've got this whole collection here, but I really don't want to use too much of it if I don't have to. I prefer to use some more white if I could. It would have been cool to have that, but I think that is the thing that I've used on the other projects, so I don't actually have that as a backing of possibility. So maybe I do just go with the white. The white backing, and then once I ink that, it should sit there just fine. Okay, so let's do that. Now it didn't fit this way, did it? I could always cut that bit off there and make it fit that way, so then I've got all that extra to play with. And I'm just trying to decide if I want to keep this mat here or if I'm going to, no I won't. I think I'll just use the matting for the photo, that's it. Now I know some people will say, no, don't distress your photo, but yes, distress the photo. Have a bit of fun with it. It's okay. It's only a photo. So that's going to be 4, so we want it to be just over the 4 inches. So I'm doing like 1/8 of a photo mat on that. And it gives me just a small little tidy border. And I might have to cut a little bit off the bottom there. Okay. Now I'm not exactly the quietest scrapper either, I suppose you could say. As you can tell that I keep talking and talking. But when it comes to my tools, I just sort of throw them around and, you know, get them from one place to the other. I like to put my tools back where they belong. So it's probably not the quietest of all deals. Just going to clean up stuff. Again, I'm double adhering that, tape and glue. Taking a moment to try and make sure that I get somewhat of an even white border there. thinking here, because the photo is on the edge, I sort of need to have it, you know, it looks a bit, I can't have it that way because that looks wrong. And even having it in the middle doesn't quite look right either. So over to the edge. Now I know some people don't like doing one photo layouts. That's okay. You do you. If you want to add extra layers on there, absolutely go for it. You want to add extra photos, sorry, go for it. I won't be offended. Go for it. Add whatever you want to the layout. I'm just here to sort of bring you my ideas, a bit of fun. I think maybe, what if I filled this one up with a few different flowers and things. How about I make that one a sort of a let's have a look. Oh, it's a little house because it is my favorite little place to be, is in my house, in my craft room. So I may not get a full strip of that, and that's okay. Like I said, we're just winging it, we're just sorting things out. I do like that flower a little bit more than that one. How about something like that? Oh, that's adorable. Okay, and that helps to balance that out too, doesn't it? So we might have to move that flower up to there. That is a bit cute. Okay, and you know what? This photo is actually going to sort of hide that ink mark that I did by dropping that earlier. Of course, we can zip it over a little bit. No, I don't want to zip that over. I want to leave it there because that's a bit cute. So a bit cute. Okay. Do I need a large flower underneath, maybe? Do I need that? I can put that up there. Have that. So I'm thinking that's going to be 3D'd. I'm thinking that's going to be 3D'd as well. Maybe that can go under there. So we want to use that favorite word, don't we? Maybe we have that slightly separate. Put him back in there. Have that slightly separate there. Hang in there with me. You're doing good so far. Thank you for hanging in with me. You might be thinking, what in the world am I doing? I'm thinking, what in the world am I doing? Let's be honest. Okay, now I do still want some of those words. I do still want some of these. I'm just trying to think where I'm going to put them. Where and how will I put them? I do like this because this helps to balance out. Or should I bring the cluster down under the photo? But the problem with doing that is I then lose that wreath, don't I? I lose that fun wreath. I don't want to lose that wreath. So really, like, me playing with this just shows you that the mind of the DT is always going, you know. Now this is only a fairly simple page. This isn't an over the top page. So absolutely be reassured in the knowledge that even us DT members sometimes are just winging it and just go with whatever we feel is gonna, you know, gonna work. So that goes there somewhere like that. And not everything is perfect. Not everything is going to match in exactly how we want or planned, and that's okay, because sometimes that's how we get our best results. So how about, I still really like that wreath, but I did say that I'd like to have something running up. Something running up there. Still not sold on that. Actually thinking that the words would be cool, like if I had a love heart hanging off somewhere and then just having the word like come out from the love heart. But okay, so that just means I need to free up the cluster to add the love heart. Now I may have to bring the cluster over so that it's a little bit closer to my photo. I could possibly put the photo up towards more of the center of the page. Hang in there with me. I'm still just winging this. Let's remember. Now I do know that I need to get a bit of a hurry on because the video is ticking away and taking away time. That still not quite right, is it? Does leave quite a bit of white space over here, but that's not a bad thing. And then I can add, yep, okay, I think I'm going to stop there. And that's sort of what I want to get. That's what I want, just there. Okay, so I'm going to now layer some of this up. Now I should probably distress some of this. Now I know that I want this one on foam tape, so I will add that straight away. And I'm pretty sure that I'm actually going to just have it out in the middle of nowhere. yeah, out in the middle of nowhere. Let's go for it. Let's lock it in. I do apologise if I come off camera a little bit. It's certainly not my intentions. It's just that I've got quite a large gap here on the table between what you can see between my board and the rest of the table. Okay, so that's gonna sit around there somewhere. Now I'm not going to stress this too much. I just want to give it a little bit of texture in the areas that I can get the texture. Now if you wanted to get like every aspect of this, you would simply grab out your scissors and just go around it with your scissors. That way you would actually be able to get all, like every single little bit of it. I don't want to do too much. I just want that texture there. Now really what I should be doing is using either a brush or a foam pad to be doing the texture on here, as they are quite a small and delicate. I'm going to put something on there like that. Continue on for the rest. Okay, so we are coming up to almost the hour mark. I hope that you have taken the chance to fast forward some of that if you have sort of gone, well, that got a bit boring there for a moment. If you wanted to re-watch this page and try and get some done, I'm happy to add some measurements in my blog post and also in the YouTube. So please feel free to have a look down there in the description and follow the links, and you'll be able to see some of the measurements for what I've done on the back here. That way you can maybe just take a screenshot of the photo or something like that. Take a screenshot of the layout when it's finished, and then you don't have to come back and re-watch everything I did. You'll just have that screenshot there and you'll have a general idea of what I've done. So again, this is for the Lasting Memories Layout Challenge blog. This is number 530, and it is a January challenge for 2021. So this is for places, a favorite place that you have visited, perhaps a landmark, a city, a beach, or a favorite restaurant. I am putting a little spin on that challenge theme, and I'm actually saying that my house is my favorite place to be. My craft room is my favorite place to be, and doing a Zoom crop with ladies from all over the world is kind of my favorite thing to do. So that's what we're doing. I'm putting that little spin on it. Okay. Now I'm going to probably mount like the whole lot of this, I think. Now I do like that colour, so we might change up some of this. So yeah, let's do that. I'm probably going to start running out of tape here. I'm going to start cursing myself out for using so much of it. But I should have some spare. underneath my desk, so that should hopefully be okay. So this one's next. Okay. I really don't like that sort of. Let's just do that. I'm going to cover that with a heart or something anyways. Alright, and then it's time to grab out some more tape. There we go. So like I said, I did get a whole bunch of it on sale recently. And I even had, it was a Spotlight voucher as well. So not only was the tape on special, but I actually got like $40 off when I spent $100. So I actually got quite a few foam tapes. Now, don't actually throw that little last bit out. I like to keep that. And then, so when you pull it off, that bit there is still sticky, as is that other bit. And if it's not though, like if it comes up with a bit of that brown stuff, just put on double-sided tape on over the top of it. You'll be fine. I like to use Express It. I know that my friends in America like to use tape runners and stuff like that. Absolutely, you just use what you have, what you got, and what suits you guys. There's no right or wrong, just do and use whatever you have. I'm going to throw that bit in there like that. And then fill him in there, I think maybe up a bit, about there, so it sort of covers most of that. And then little house. How adorable is that little house? And I actually forgot to stick my photo down. I hope someone is there saying, Toni, photo, photo, photo. Because I completely forgot. Until it started moving around on me. I was like, huh. But as you can see, like there's not a lot on that roll. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's only like 12 rows. It's only, it says it's 4 meters long. I don't think it is, but 4 meters long. It certainly doesn't, which is 4.4 yards for those playing in America. Certainly doesn't seem like there's that much on there. It does get used up very quickly. I have on quite a number of occasions used up an entire roll of foam tape just on one project. Now, am I going to stick it in or am I going to leave it out? Now that's sort of almost centered in my layout, so I might actually just leave it out. Or is it better centered? How about half in, half out? So it's half in that gap and it's still being covered by that ink spot. There we go. It's actually, yep, I'm okay with that. I'm good with that. Now, try and finish up fairly quickly because I know that I've just gone over that hour mark and I do apologize. I do try and keep my layouts fairly quick. I know how precious our time is these days. Even though we're at home more and more, I do know that we would much rather be doing other things with our time. I'm a big entertainment person, which basically means I love things like Netflix. You know, I'm a sucker for those sorts of things. I love to watch my shows. I watch shows, TV shows, movies, and I can very easily watch them over and 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 over again. It's probably not a good thing. It's probably not a good role model thing to put on display for my children, but at least while you're watching a movie, you can do other things. You know, I can go and clean the house and just put the AirPods in, or the earphones in. I can clean the house, do the washing, do the vacuuming. I can listen to an audiobook or have the phone in my pocket, so I've got a TV show or a movie going. I just enjoy that sort of thing. My kids, however, they just sit on their bums watching video games all day. So yeah, no matter how many times I try and get them out of that habit, that is not a battle that I'm winning. So if you have any ideas, please do leave me some comments on how I can try and win that battle. Sometimes it's a battle that I don't even bother choosing. Some days it's just not worth it. I'm going to actually put a couple next to each other here, just because I think it's a bit cute. I'm going to put a couple next to each other. I'll have like a word going off there and a word going off there. So if you are joining me for the first time, again, thank you. Please be assured that my videos usually don't actually run this long. So feel free to jump over to my YouTube or my Facebook page and have a look at the other videos that we have there. I think this is actually the longest video that I've done so far. I do apologize. I definitely do apologize, because I try not to make a habit of making videos this long. I just spilled that ink. I dropped it and all over my white desk, which is okay because we just wipe it up. I'm going to quickly tidy up my desk with that double-sided tape there. Okay, then we're going to go with the words. So these are some really, really lovely words. Friends. That is definitely a big, big thing on describing people I was doing that Zoom crop with. They're amazing, amazing people. Happy. Happy. This was definitely a way to keep the happiness fill. And, you know, the jar of happiness, keeping that full in such a hard time this year. Definitely smile, because there's plenty of that. Plenty of that, plenty of love, plenty of jokes, plenty of smiling. So good. Love that. So good. So good. I'm going to put love right at the top there. It's a bit crooked. That's all right. Now, once I've actually finished this layout, I probably will take a moment to stand up over the top of it and straighten up what I need to do, which is fine. about these days? And that can sort of be my one ode to what and why this is happening, why we've got the Zoom crop. I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm just going to add that one these days. I may add some, I'm not sure if I'll add, I'll probably leave that, you know, and I'll add some journaling on the back. Isn't that a beautiful piece? I might just add a bit of journaling on the back there to explain what this photo is about and why. I've made a purpose to, like a point of making sure that I don't really scrap about all of the COVID stuff and the restrictions, because I don't want to dwell and be stuck in this spot of our now. I want to be able to move on and just have the best part. So shine bright. I only want to have the best parts of lockdown and restrictions and all that sort of stuff. So the only things that I personally will be scrapping about in my memories is like the yummy food that we had. We have so many more options here in central Queensland with delivery options and stuff like that. So I'll only really be doing, you know, activities we did at home. I won't be adding, you know, the full-on details of the COVID stuff. So I'm just doing really simple stuff. And this is my decision to do that. I know a lot of people are doing layouts, COVID layouts and that sort of stuff. Absolutely fine. You do that. That's okay. However, I want to just keep the best parts of the memories. You know, we will remember this situation for the rest of our lives, but I don't want to have to keep passing that down and reminding myself every time I flick through an album. So that's my opinion. But I think that's it. I'm going to leave that there. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to take a moment to clean up my craft desk. And yeah, that's it. Again, this was for the Lasting Memories Layout Challenge blog. It is challenge number 530. I will add some measurements into my blog post as well as my YouTube channel. So drop on by Facebook and check out the links to see what you need. A quick little tip just as we're ending. I've got the wipe out for that blending brush. Some people like to go and wet it and use a bit of shampoo or something to get your ink out. If you do something like that, it then does take a good 24 hours or so to dry. I just like to grab a wipe or even paper towel or wet a couple of tissues so it's nice and strong, and just keep going round and round and round and round and round. Just keep going and going and going. That was a really, really juicy ink pad. It was brand new. Just keep going round and round and round until you've emptied out the colour from that. And then it's just a case of, you know, drying it on another dry tissue or dry paper towel, and it's done. Anyway, okay, so that's it. Thank you very much from Lasting Memories Layout Challenges. Thank you from Toni from Scrap Crazy with Toni, and I'll see you next time.